I've always been a big fan of Halloween. Even though it isn't a holiday that's celebrated in my country, the whole concept it's always seemed so fun. The costumes, the parties, the fact that children can go to strangers' houses and solicit candy and then not end up on a Netflix documentary, the whole thing is just so intriguing. So I figured I would celebrate the occasion by making a video on 5 spooky platinum hunts. And to prove this is the ultimate way to spend Halloween, I asked some friends and viewers if they could think of a single thing that would be better.
Going to a party?
Yeah, I suppose that would be better.
Drinking wine and watching scary movies all night?
Yeah, I guess you could do that.
Dressing up as each other's favourite characters and then wrestling until one comes out on top.
Wait, hang on. Are we talking about like cosplay wrestling, or are you talking about gay sex? Exactly. There is surely no better way to celebrate than by jumping into 5 different platinum journeys, each exploring a different flavour of horror. So grab yourself a bevvy, dim the lights, and enjoy the Plats and Chats Halloween special. For game number 1, we are starting with Slender, The Arrival. Yeah, this was a mistake. So I first played this game about 100 years ago back in uni. Then it was just a 1-level demo. You're in a dimly lit forest, there are 8 randomly generated pages to collect, and all you have to accompany you is a temperamental flashlight. Meanwhile, a cosmic horror in a suit is teleporting around trying to hunt you down and sell you car insurance. I never beat it back then, I didn't know anyone that beat it back then. So I figured now that it's a full game with multiple levels and an actual story, I would finally conquer this beast. That was a terrible, stupid, horrible, terrible, bad, terrible idea, because this game is absolutely terrifying. There's this constant ambient hum that just keeps you on edge until it warps into this distorted scream the second you're in danger. And that happens pretty frequently. When you're in danger, all you can do is run and hide. You have no way to fight back. And everything that's chasing you has the ability to teleport to you, though I wouldn't rely too much on hiding. Every single thing about Slender the Arrival exists to make you uncomfortable, an experience that the devs have absolutely nailed. Anyway, starting it off, we play as Lauren, who is investigating the disappearance of her friend Kate. Kate was trying to sell her childhood home, which is in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, before a tall guy started appearing outside her window. The first level here just kind of sets the stage. You get a few jump scares and a crash course in pitch black lighting. Into Kate's house, and she is nowhere to be found. So rather than calling the police and ending the game early, we decide to sprint into the nearby pitch black forest to give chase, thus setting up the game. In typical horror logic, it's just a bunch of dumb people making a bunch of dumb choices. Now, for the platinum, we're looking at 2 playthroughs. One is on normal and one is on hardcore. There are a few miscellaneous trophies to grab for interacting with certain objects. Some are given to you for just beating the game, but the vast majority of them come from tackling the game's 60 different collectibles, many of which are hidden in very not fun locations. Normal mode, it's fine, like it's not a peaceful walk in the park, but it's manageable. I finished it in about 3 hours, grabbing every collectible along the way, including jumping into the bonus level they added for this version of the game in an abandoned hospital to grab the 10 pages there. Then it's on to hardcore mode. The hardcore mode just sucks. So, straight off the bat, you have way less stamina and flashlight battery, but also Slendy and co are way more aggressive and hyper aware of your movements. The middle level of the game just turns into straight up torture. So in normal mode, the way this level works is you have to activate 5 generators to power up an elevator to get away. All the while you're being hunted by a masked psycho as well as Slenderman. In hardcore, not only do you need to find the 5 randomly generated generators, but you have to find 5 randomly generated gasoline canisters to power them. This level is it's straight up hell. And the worst thing is it's not skill based. You're either going to get lucky and the spawns are all going to be really close to each other, or you're going to die. It took me around an hour just to get this one level done. And to put that in perspective, there is a speedrun trophy for finishing this entire level in 5 minutes. Eventually, after getting lucky and surviving the mines, the rest of the game, it's much the same. Hyper-aggressive Slendy coming after you, and you just need to get lucky with the spawns so that you can crawl to the end. With hardcore down, all that remained were a couple of the quick speedrun trophies, and finally, when we run into this deliberate jump scare, that's your warning by the way, there's a jump scare coming, we grab our final trophy to mark the platinum for the scariest game I've ever played. And with that done, let's reset, turn down the stress, and jump into the next game. Our next game is Control, the third-person shooter set in the same world as the Alan Wake games. In this game, we control Jesse Faden.
He said it! He said it!
A civilian who's somehow managed to make her way into the Oldest House, which is a rundown facility staffed by the Federal Bureau of Control, tasked with keeping all the things that go bump in the night out of society. Now, if I tried to explain the story any further, like how Jessie's here looking for her brother, she's also become the new director of the FBC because she picked up the gun that killed the old director by his own hand, which was being controlled by her all along, this video would triple in length and also reveal how little I really did understand. So for the sake of everyone's sanity, Jessie has powers, there are these creepy possessed people, and we shoot them with an alien gun while telekinetically yeeting office furniture around. The combat is really great, the powers make every fight feel open and chaotic, and the setting really nails that stylish meets creepy aesthetic. My only complaint is that there are a lot of areas where you can't see anything. And I get that rundown brutalist buildings aren't exactly known for their lighting design, but I want to be able to see shit. Platinum wise, there is a little bit to cover here. You're looking at an approximate 20-hour runtime for the base game and then about 5 hours each for the 2 DLCs. You've got your standard action game spread here. There's trophies for combat feats and abilities. You got a dozen or so tied to story progression, and then there's another dozen for completing side quests and taking down optional bosses, which, by the way, are actually really fun. And then there's the thing that every action game seems to include for some reason, the awful collectible grind. Thankfully for the base game, the DLC collectibles do count towards the total you need, which makes things much easier. You don't have to worry about collectibles in the base game. But when you're going for the DLC ones, you do need to have a second screen open at all times to make sure you don't miss one elusive page hiding in an office that looks identical to every other surrounding office. Collecting all the cats and unlocking the cat ears was cool though. I'm fine with that collectible grind. All up, it wasn't too bad a hunt, except for this one pain of a trophy around Bureau Alerts. So these are random events that are supposed to trigger around every 30 minutes, and you'll need to do only 5 of them for a trophy. However, after finishing the entire base game and both DLCs, I'd seen exactly 2. So there's this weird bug that's been around for 6 years, and the only fix is to reload an old Chapter 3 save from when they first unlock, allowing you to just repeat the mission until you've got 5 of them done. Anyway, with that minor setback handled, we finish up, grab the Crisis Management Trophy, and secure Platinum number 2. Our third dalliance with Supernatural Platinums comes in Murdered Soul Suspect, a really interesting detective story set in modern-day Salem revisiting the witch trials. It plays out like a stylized noir film, kind of like LA Noire, except instead of playing a narcissistic douchebag in a fedora, you play as a chain-smoking ghost in a fedora. See, Ronan here was killed by an impossibly strong assailant while investigating a series of ritualistic murders. Instead of passing on, he becomes a ghost who never quite grasps the fact that normal people can't fucking hear you, bro. You are dead. Now, he does end up teaming up with a medium who acts as his anchor to the living world, which he uses to solve his own murder, and along the way help a whole bunch of other silly dead geese move on. It's a fairly short and very simple game. You get a few cool ghostly abilities like possession and teleportation, plus there's a few brief stealth encounters with demons, but nothing ever really sticks around long enough to wear out its welcome. The platinum does look very scary, but it's not too bad. So nearly half of the trophies are marked as missable, and there is over 200 collectibles. That does mean once again it's time to have that trusty second screen open, because if you miss a single note, you'll probably be heading back to go without collecting $200. However, because this is a much slower paced game, the collectible grind didn't feel too painful. It's more like a gentle companion to a neat little supernatural whodunit, rather than something disturbing and breaking up the flow of the game. I definitely could have done without the Wednesday Addams looking ghost girl that kept popping up though. All up, Murdered Soul Suspect took about 5-ish hours to grab Halloween Platinum number 3. Our next game, Ravenous Devils, is basically a video game version of Sweeney Todd. Like, when I was telling my wife about this game, she was like, oh, so it's Sweeney Todd. And I was like, nah, because Johnny Depp cuts hair in that movie, doesn't he? And she was like, oh, you haven't seen Sweeney Todd. And I was like, no, I haven't seen Sweeney Todd. So then we watched Sweeney Todd, and now that I've seen Sweeney Todd, I can confidently tell you this game plays out exactly like Sweeney Todd. On the top 2 floors, you're controlling Percival, who runs his tailoring shop, recycling clothes from their previous owners who no longer need them for sale to new customers. And every time someone comes in for private tailoring measurements, he very kindly assists them out of their mortal constraints and sends the body down the chute where his loving wife Hildred is waiting in the kitchen. Regarding the kitchen, I don't think I can really show you anything that happens down here unless I upload the video to LiveLeak. So let's just say corpses come down the chute, events occur, and we end up with juicy succulent steaks, sausages and mince to bake into a variety of pies and pastries. Eventually you expand enough to turn your restaurant into a dine-in establishment and grow your own vegetables using a homemade manure that is to die for. I actually really loved the new spin on a management sim here, because rather than controlling one character, you seamlessly swap between both of them to sort of juggle both of their tasks throughout your daily operations. Also, the aesthetics and the music are just fantastic. I do have one very minor gripe with the game. It was not designed with thumbsticks in mind at all. Selecting certain items was unbelievably frustrating. Like, you have to be millimeter perfect to be able to grab eggs. And after trying this a few times, I just thought, nah, fuck it, we are an eggless establishment here. Trophy-wise, the game is an absolute delight. There isn't a guide, but I can tell you there are no missables, there is no collectible grind, and 90% of the trophies are just going to pop if you just play the game. Don't get me wrong, I do love an engaging trophy hunt with varied challenges, but every now and then it's so nice to just relax with a game that rewards you for just simply playing it. All you really need to do is fully upgrade the restaurant, harvest a few different ingredients, dip yours or someone else's hand in a little bit of gardening, and then just play through the story, which really just plays second fiddle to the daily chaos. Ravenous Devils all up took about 4 hours and was an incredibly gruesome but genuinely enjoyable experience. For our last game, we are playing the Until Dawn remake, which is a 10-year-old interactive movie that's been rebuilt entirely in Unreal Engine. It's got a gorgeous new coat of paint while keeping the storytelling and gameplay intact for the most part. So it's your classic cabin in the woods setup. These 8 teenagers go on a vacation to an abandoned ski lodge on a creepy mountain to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of 2 of their friends dying in this exact same place. Just, you know, normal teenager things. It features a star-studded cast. We've got Mr. Robot, the cheerleader, Cheyenne from Superstore, and everyone's favourite intimidating Eastern European man, Peter Stormare, playing role as a therapist who very clearly learnt everything he knows about psychology off the back of cereal boxes. Your goal in the game is simple. Keep all 8 of these incredibly irritating human beings alive until dawn. Along the way, you get to meet a couple of psychos that are just hanging out on the mountain, plus a group of 1950s miners who have turned into horrifying, screeching Wendigos. But you do also get to befriend and pat a wolf, so it is a net positive experience. Platinum-wise, we are revisiting the old second screen open collectible grind, but much like Smokey McSpector's adventure, it doesn't really hinder the game's pacing, because it's basically just a series of choices, cutscenes, and an incredibly slow walk to the next set of choices and cutscenes. And when I say slow, I cannot comprehend how people being systematically hunted down can move at the speed of a geriatric Costco shopper. The movement in the remake is just straight up dog shit. So first off, there's a noticeable input delay where every thumbstick press lags by like half a second. So whenever you try to pick up a collectible, you're just going to walk past it. And for some reason, they removed the ability to run that was in the original game. So what you're left with is this admittedly beautiful cinematic lit slog where you are just begging the teenagers to just lift their knees a little bit. I'll let Peter deliver the message for whoever was in control of the movement in this remake.
What the hell have you done to them? Psychopath. Psychopath.
So alright, it's not too noticeable the first time you go through the game where we grab every collectible and kept the preppy cast of stereotypes alive. But as I'm learning is seemingly the case with interactive movies, you have to play it through again. And once you've played it through again, you have to play it through again, because you've got to see every possible outcome. With the same unskippable cutscenes and the movement speed of a snail on its rest day. Playthroughs 2 and 3, even though they're only partial, they were pure torture. So I think I'm going to be putting the interactive movie platinums aside for a while. Because while they are great games, they're just awful trophy hunts. All up Until Dawn took around 11 hours across the 3 playthroughs. And with that trophy, we bring a close to the Halloween Platinum Special. 5 spooky games, 5 new platinums, and several years taken off of my lifespan. From getting chased through the woods by an Amazon executive to becoming a superhero bureaucrat to running a fine dining establishment powered by creative sourcing, it's been a weird but fun little celebration of the season. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and a special shout out to the channel members for your very, very appreciated support. I hope you all had a fantastic Halloween, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ciao.